Yapping.
Hello, this is Erica.
And Edgar.
And we are the Yapping Schnauzers. We entertain you with yap-worthy stories we find around the web. Today's theme is WTF Energy.
So our first story is titled, My Brother-in-Law Crossed the Line While My Husband Was Deployed. My husband, 28 male, and I, 27 female, have been married for a little over a year now. He's currently deployed overseas with the military, and we recently found out right before he left that I'm expecting our first child. It was bittersweet timing, but he was overjoyed and so was I. Last week, I shared the news with our families, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. Everyone was excited, especially his younger brother, 25 male, who's always been a bit too friendly, but nothing I couldn't chalk up to personality. That changed this morning. I woke up to a message from him saying he understands how emotionally draining pregnancy can be, and that sometimes intimacy becomes rare or non-existent. He then said, blatantly, that he's available if I need comfort, emotionally or physically, while my husband is away. He even made a comment about how no one has to know. I'm furious, disturbed, and honestly at a loss. I have zero interest in anyone except my husband, who is the love of my life, but now I'm stuck wondering how to handle this without tearing a hole in their family. My husband and his brother are extremely close. They grew up together through some tough times and have always leaned on each other. His brother was even the best man at our wedding. My husband would be heartbroken and enraged if he found out what was said. But at the same time, this is a massive betrayal. His brother isn't just disrespecting our marriage, he's undermining my husband's role as a father and partner during a time when we were supposed to be building our future. I keep thinking, do I tell my husband now while he's deployed and can't really do anything except stew in anger from afar? Or do I wait until he gets home, knowing that delaying might look like I was hiding it? If I don't say anything at all, his brother stays in his life like nothing happened, and that makes my skin crawl. What if he tries this again, or with someone else? What if he's done it before? My loyalty is to my husband and our baby, but no matter what I choose, someone is going to be deeply hurt. There is no clean way out of this. I just want to do what's right for my marriage, my child, and myself. How do I expose a betrayal that could wreck a lifelong bond without causing unnecessary damage?
This is kind of crazy.
We both looked at each other like, bro.
Yeah. So I would say definitely tell your husband, because, I mean, even if you don't want to destroy the family, it's important that you have that open communication, and he's your husband. You're supposed to tell him everything that's going on, especially something as alarming as this, even if it's his brother. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I know the train of thought that, like, oh, he's far away, so he can't really do anything except be mad at the situation from afar. But, like, I feel like it's better. Like, I imagine from the husband's perspective, he'd want to know this, like, as soon as possible and not wait, like, a few months or years to find out, like, this happened.
Yeah, I would say just tell your husband. I mean, I know he can't do anything because right now he's deployed, but you know, it's better to know now than for her to be like, oh, now that you're here, I want to tell you something.
Yeah.
And then he'll probably be offended, or he'll feel like she didn't feel comfortable enough to tell the situation to him.
Mm-hmm.
So that would cause issues with the relationship too. And then they're having a baby. Like, that's, that's the wrong time. That brother here is the asshole.
Definitely for trying to break up the marriage. Well, I guess not really. He just wanted some sort of fun while he's away and can't do anything.
Fling. He wanted just a fling.
Yeah, we're fling with someone, I guess, close and easy.
That's crazy to me.
It is, yeah. And, like, just such a ballsy thing. Like, especially since, like, it's his own brother and OP, like, pregnant as well.
Yeah, and they're close. Like, he was the best man in the wedding. And for him to do that, it just shows who he truly is and his intentions. Mm-hmm. I come from a military family, 4th generation. You and your husband are a team. Tell him. This isn't your dirty secret. You did nothing wrong. It's completely horrendous. Your brother-in-law put you in this position when you are already under enough stress from the pregnancy and the ongoing deployment. And then he responded to, my husband would be heartbroken and enraged if he found out what was said. as he should be, as you are. So sort this out together, and any other path going forward is going to be betrayal to the trust you have and need, not the asshole. Yeah, it's a good point. You know, they have that trust, and she shouldn't allow it to be broken because of the brother-in-law.
Exactly, yeah. I'm sure they'll understand, but it's still a sucky situation for OP to be in.
Yeah. You know,
Again, she seems to be worried about like how everyone will like react to this to the situation, but it's like it's not because of her that this is happening. It's because of like the brother-in-law.
I know, but then you're still gonna have those asshole people saying, "Oh, it's
You don't have to say anything or whatever. They just had to make some story up to like justify the brother-in-law's actions.
Exactly." There's always a cousin, a sister, a mother. Ugh. Regardless, OP, you should just come clean and tell your husband. That's the best we can do, right?
Okay, so final verdict.
The final verdict for me would be the brother-in-law is the asshole.
Yeah, he's the only asshole in the story, and OP is definitely not.
No, she's definitely just trying to figure out the least way for somebody to get her, and there's just no winning in this one at all. So the next story is, am I overreacting, or did my boyfriend just try to gaslight me over cupcakes? So last night I made cupcakes, like actually made them from scratch. Frosting too. Not the box stuff, not the store-bought, real deal. Loving every bite cupcake. I told my boyfriend not to touch them because they were my little cousin's birthday today. He said, cool, I won't. Fast forward to this morning, 5 are missing. Not 1, not 2.
That's crazy. 5.
5.
Reminds me of somebody.
Oh, yeah. I asked him about it, and this man looks me in the eye and goes, are you sure you didn't miscount? I stood there blinking like a confused cat because what? Then he goes, they're just cupcakes. You're being dramatic. Excuse me? Dramatic. Over the 5 cupcakes I told him not to touch that he ate in secret. So I told him it's not about the cupcakes. It's about the disrespect and him acting like I imagined it. He hit me with, you're always making a big deal out of nothing. So now I'm sitting here with 7 cupcakes, a cousin expecting 12, and a boyfriend who's trying to Jedi mind trick me into believing I can't count big goods. Am I overreacting, or is this cupcake theft just a tip of the gaslighting iceberg? Because I feel like I'm dating and walking a red flag in a hoodie.
I personally think she's overreacting, but also I can understand why she'd be so upset at her boyfriend or husband.
Nah, it's a boyfriend. She is not. She's underreacting.
Underreacting?
Yes, because it makes me feel like he's done this before. Not just about the cupcakes, but about other things, maybe more important things. And he just gaslights her saying, I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe the boyfriend has an eating problem.
No, he's just an asshole that literally lied to her face and said that she's overreacting, saying that he did not eat any 5 cupcakes and that she's in the wrong. You don't do that. It is funny, but she's underreacting. That is not okay.
And now the cousin is like not gonna get any like cupcakes.
Well, some kids are gonna be like
cupcake this. They're gonna have like cut it in half.
Yeah, which is not fun. And she said obviously I know I bake cookies and I bake everything from scratch. Takes a lot of time. It's not just box with a box where you just put milk and eggs. Yeah. So the top comment is, you are underreacting. I was married to someone like him. I learned to look in the trash when he wasn't around after something disappeared, and I knew he was lying about it. He would hear, don't eat any of these, and then prove to me that I don't control him by destroying or throwing away whatever it was. Wedding pics, on one occasion, negatives and all. By going way overboard and how obviously he was lying. He would be daring me to prove it, and if I did, he would say, well, you can't do shit about it, so you might as well be quiet. He was right. Unless I left, there wasn't anything I could do to stop him. And he would keep doing whatever he wanted because he liked showing me that he had all the control. I don't think the cupcakes are the only thing your boyfriend has been using to put you in your place. It sounds like he feels nothing but contempt for you and is daring you to stop him. He knows you can't, and the cupcakes were one big middle finger flipped at you. Exactly. So it's just maybe over the surface you see a cupcake and he's just like, oh, I ate five because he couldn't control himself. But honestly, when a guy is like this, it's because he does this all the time and it's constant. And this type of relationship is toxic and it's so much red flags in this. She should leave this guy.
Crazy. If only he didn't touch the cupcakes.
Well, it's not just about the cupcakes. You gotta understand that. It's about all other stuff he's probably done that she doesn't realize. And those are serious things. The person that literally responded or top comment said other stuff, which makes sense. So I would say, girl, run for the hills, get out of there, and leave him.
So yeah, that's your final verdict to leave.
Yep.
I say I wouldn't leave, but yeah, I understand why she'd be so pissed at the situation.
Yeah, he
Because that's excessive. Like maybe one would be like cute or whatever, but like five, like that's like over, like just too much. And then trying to like blatantly lie with five is like crazy.
No, he just disrespected her, did not respect her words, did not ignore her completely, and then lied to her face, looked at her directly in the eyes, and said, "You're wrong. You're miscounting." That's just terrible. I just can't. Man like that is just a piece of trash. Throw him back.
This next story is titled, Am I the asshole for telling my stepmom that maybe if she had a dad, she wouldn't be weirded out by mine loving me? Me, 17 female, and my dad have always been super close. My mom died when I was young, and I have no siblings, so it's always been just me and my dad. But ever since my stepmom came into the picture, she hated how close we were. She says it's weird and makes her uncomfortable. We talk over dozens of things. We had a huge fight the other day. Me and her were sitting in the kitchen, and my dad came home from work. He said he had a present for me, and her face immediately got nasty. He handed me a bag with a light purple dress in it. It was like a short sundress, and it just above the knee. Definitely something I would wear to church. But my stepmom got mad and said it was disgusting how he bought me a short, tiny dress and didn't get his wife anything. He said he was sorry and that it was only $5, and he thought I'd look really pretty in it. And he said that he didn't think it'd be short on me since I'm really short. But I could go try it on and show him to see if it was too short. Then she got even more mad and said he was disgusting for wanting to see me in a short dress. I got mad and told her I was done dealing with her shit. She said it's not her fault my dad acts like he loves me more than her. I said that he does, and she asked him to choose between us. My dad told her to calm down and that I was his daughter. So I said that maybe if she actually had a dad, she wouldn't be weirded out by mine loving me. She started crying, ran out, and called us both assholes. Am I the asshole?
That's crazy. I don't think there is any red flags here.
No.
Do you see any red flags? As the dad treating her like a certain way?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the dad was just being normal, just being nice.
Yeah, just being a dad, especially has no siblings. Their mom died, so he kind of took a little bit more nurturing role and trying to make up for the mom's death. So I don't understand what is going on. I think the stepmom, she just needs to go.
Yeah, I think the stepmom just has like a lot of projection and a lot of just like insecurities about their relationship.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like it's like anything like bad or anything.
Yeah, it honestly doesn't. I think she's really overreacting, especially if it's above the knee. Wow, that's a short dress. Like, that's insane. Even like uniforms are above the knee or literally on the knee.
Yeah, and plus they said that she was like short, so I guess he was assuming it was just like long enough for her.
Yeah, I think she just really got mad because he got her something and didn't get the the stepmom anything. I think that's what triggered her. But I mean, if it was $5 and there was no size for her, okay, sorry.
Yeah. Do you think she comes back from this?
No, maybe. I mean, it depends on the father if he wants to keep trying with her. But I think the daughter's fed up with her.
Yeah, definitely. Like Opie's fed up with her, but I'm like not sure. Like after this entire incident, if like she will like come back in a few days, a few hours. Like I feel like she's like mad, disgusted. Just like all the negative things, she doesn't want to probably come back.
They might be the villains in her side of the story, but from our side, she's crazy. She's the one projecting. So there is a like examples that OP did give.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a few examples. So yeah, OP added, here's some of the things she's gotten pissy about if that affects your answer. She doesn't like when my dad carries tampons for me at concerts, amusement parks, etc. When my dad knows my McDonald's order. When my dad takes me out for dinner. When he keeps hair ties in his car. Him saying goodnight every night to me. Me telling my dad my drama from my school. And my dad and I going to the movies together. And there are more things, but that's all I can really think of at the moment.
I don't see anything wrong with that.
Yeah, so I think I think OP is a little bit right about the stepmom like not having like a healthy like not having a dad like in the picture to like show her like what's like normal and what's like something to show that like, oh, this is how a dad acts when they love their child.
Yeah, and also maybe it's also that she feels like a third wheel. You know, because they've been all of them two for a while since the mom's death. Mm-hmm. And she feels maybe that they don't have that type of relationship, that she feels like she's looking from the outside and that she's not part of it. Mm-hmm. So maybe that's what also is causing the frustration. But honestly, I think there's nothing wrong with how he treats her. A top comment is, not the asshole, but why is your dad married to someone who sees his child as competition? You shouldn't have to say anything to her. She should have been out of the door after the first comment like this. The fact that she wasn't is a failure on your dad's part.
It's like it's a little bit strange to have like a partner, but the partner is like
competing for your attention.
Competing for your attention or competing for your love with like your child. In some ways, it could be normal. Like if like it's like a kid or like a toddler, like, oh, I wish I had more time with him, and like they just had to make concessions. But it looks like OP's stepmom thinks that like they're like romantic competitors, you know?
Yeah,
which is like weird.
That is weird. Maybe she has some trauma that's, obviously not disclosed. Maybe she needs to go to therapy. I don't know, but I honestly think that there's nothing wrong with the way they're treat the father and the daughter's relationship. And I mean, if the stepmother is so against it, then she can just see her way out. Mm-hmm. And I mean, about the comment, I do get it though.
Yeah.
That if he saw that this is how she was acting this whole time, why did he continue to stay with her? I guess to be, on his side, or see, maybe he's just tired of being alone. Yeah. He wanted a partner. But I think he needs to pick a better person to be with.
Exactly, yeah.
So what's the final verdict?
OP wouldn't be the asshole. I think what she said to the stepmom is like messed up though, just because like you. I feel like there's like a line to be drawn when it comes to like family trauma and like personal things, and like she definitely crossed that.
Well, so did she, saying that it was weird that the father was, saying that she wanted to see her in a short dress. Mm-hmm. She crossed that line too, and she just clapped it back, and she didn't. So
she stooped to her level.
Yeah. Well, she just gave it back, and she couldn't handle it. But yeah, I don't think she's the asshole at all. I think the stepmother needs some help.
Exactly.
She needs, I don't know what she needs, but she needs to be better. So the next story is, the convenience store clerk who has never uttered a word in 2 years finally spoke to me yesterday. I've been going to the same convenience store 3 to 4 times a month for 2 years, and the man that works there never utters a word, ever. I always say hello when I walk in, even though I know I won't get one in return. He stands there like a statue behind the counter, like a permanent scowl on his face. It's only until I put things on the counter he moves to scan them in silence. If you can get past his scary facial expression, he's quite handsome actually. I'm quite certain he's Indian. He's tall, early 40s, built physique, with a short, neat haircut and a thick mustache. Never talks, never smiles. The epitome of the strong, silent type. Then yesterday on May 15, 2025, he finally had our first ever conversation. I walked in, grabbed my usual coffee and a banana. Right as he begins scanning my things, I hear a deep, burly voice say, "Heading to work?" My head shut up, eyeing the candy shelf. We were the only people in the store, and yeah, I was so surprised those words came from him. I replied, "Yes." Wow. He gave one court nod with a soft grunt, then threw my receipt in the trash. He knows I don't want it. I was so in awe that finally this man, who I've seen for 2 years, more often than some of my actual friends, finally spoke to me. I smiled, pleased that we finally had gained some rapport, and then indeed headed off to work.
That's crazy. He or she had dated May 15th, 2025.
Isn't that crazy?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a cute little story.
Yeah, it's like pretty cute. Like, I would be a little bit scared.
What do you mean?
Like, why now? Why this day? Why this year?
Why you just wanted to talk?
I kind of would have preferred like not never talking, to be honest, because when I want to go to like the to get the gas, like get gas or get something from the gas station, I just like want to get my stuff and leave.
Well, maybe she's single and she wants to mingle. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. She says that he's good looking, so I don't find anything wrong. But obviously, if it's a guy and guy, and you don't bat that way, that's okay, you know. So the top comment is, "You melted the ice, man."
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And OP responded, "It's been a long road, but it was worth it."
I know, for that one high. Well, it wasn't even high.
It was the question, heading into work.
Heading to work.
And she just responded with yes. I love that. It was just such a cute little conversation.
Mm-hmm. The next story is titled, "Am I Overreacting? He said I embarrassed him for crying at the funeral." I've been dating my boyfriend for a year. We met in college, and honestly, I thought he was a different kind, calm, and emotionally mature. At least that's what I thought. So recently, one of my childhood best friends passed away suddenly. It hit me really hard. I hadn't seen her as often lately, but she was still someone I loved deeply. I went to the funeral with my boyfriend because I didn't want to go alone, and he said he'd be there for me. At the funeral, I cried a lot. It wasn't loud or dramatic. I just couldn't stop the tears. I was heartbroken. Afterwards, in the car, my boyfriend went completely quiet. I asked him what was wrong, and he said something like, "You didn't have to make a scene like that. People were staring. You embarrassed yourself and me." I was stunned. I asked him what he meant, and he said I should have held it together like everyone else and not made it about me. I didn't scream, I didn't collapse, I didn't interrupt anything. I just cried at a funeral for my friend. Since then, I've been cold towards him, and now he's saying I'm overreacting and being emotionally manipulative by being distant. I've been spiraling ever since. Was I really being too much? I know not everyone handles grief in the same way, but he would at least comfort me, not judge me for it. Am I overreacting, or is this a red flag?
Oh my
I guess
God.
it really depends on how much crying she's actually doing. Because, I mean, maybe from her perspective, she was just like regular crying. But maybe from everyone else's perspective, it could have been a totally different story.
Yeah, but it's a
Mhm.
funeral. You are
Exactly.
allowed to cry.
I know, yeah. I mean, I can understand that she may be not the most biased or most reliable narrator in terms of like what's happening. But either way, yeah, it's like okay to like cry, even like being all dramatic in a funeral.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gonna grieve differently. And how dare he try to be like, you should have been more considerate of everybody else because you were crying too much. Like, what you mean? It's a funeral. She feels sad that her friend died. Childhood best friend died.
You know, it's like pretty hard.
Yeah, especially if they had such good connection and she feels bad for not reaching out. You know, it just doesn't make sense that he tries to keep her in a little bubble and keep her like, okay, you gotta do this, you gotta do control her feelings. It doesn't make sense to me. The top comment is, "What a jerk. Listen, people grieve differently and he has no right to try to box you in. Drop that loser. He sounds like one of those guys who doesn't know how to feel emotion. They're miserable icemen." And then OP responded, I kept trying to justify his reaction, but deep down I knew it wasn't okay. I shouldn't feel bad for showing emotion, especially during something as painful as a funeral. Exactly. There is another comment that says, recently one of my best friend's little sister passed away suddenly. It was devastating and heart-wrenching and hard to understand. My husband met her once in the 25 years we'd been together. He went to the funeral, supported me and my other friends while we cried, shared memories, laughed, and cried again. On the way home, he never once made a bad comment about any of it. Grief is personal and a very vulnerable place to be. He was and is my safe place to be vulnerable. You deserve someone who will be the safe place. Your boyfriend showed you who he is, believe him. You need to decide if he's going to be able to fulfill your needs in the way you need. Exactly. So that means if he can provide that emotional support or be that your safe spot or your safe house, whatever, then he's not it. Mm-hmm. He needs something growing up and trying to be emotional intelligent. Yeah. So
I wonder how old they are.
Drop him.
It looks like they're like in college age.
I have no idea. It doesn't say any like the age at all. So I can't really speculate.
Yeah, same here. But I mean, either way, yeah, it's like when someone's like already really sad, not the best to kick them down like that. Like further down.
So I do remember when we first started dating, you lost your grandpa. I was there with you and I supported you, and not once did I say you're being extra or you're being too emotional, because I knew how much that person meant to you. Mm-hmm. So you need to find somebody that supports you when you need it and when it's important. And it doesn't matter what everybody thinks. It's about the person you love. So for me, she's not overreacting at all. Mm-hmm. I think she needs to dump that dude.
Yeah, so she was definitely not overreacting, especially to what her now hopefully ex-boyfriend said, since it's pretty insensitive and just nice to see after a funeral.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So for this last section, we're going to do something different, and we're just going to read rapid fire style a bunch of surreal moments we found on Reddit. We will be sure to include the link to the main thread in this episode's description. But yeah, we'll just read stories and then we'll do a quick reaction. But yeah, we just thought these were like pretty surreal, and we'd love to share with you guys. This first story says, I had an incredible urge to go to my employee's house. It was weird and overwhelming. I called my mom thinking I lost my shiz, and she said to trust my gut, so I went. It felt weird. Who wants their boss showing up after hours? When I got to his house, I heard a faint, help me, coming from inside the house. I kicked the door and went inside, and the dude had a stroke 24 to 48 hours prior to my arrival. He was just laying on the floor and would have rotted there had I dismissed that crazy urge. I feel like he should have not given.
You're terrible. I'm glad he listened.
Not because never. The only reason why is just like that's just a weird thing. Like I would never say, oh, I need to go into my boss's house or I need to go to my my supervisor's house. But it's just like it's such a weird thing to have. But I mean, I guess lucky for him, he saved someone's life.
Yeah.
But yeah, 24, 48 hours. Yeah, he was like that dude was like slowly dying. He was suffering for like 1 or 2 days, not unable to move, unable to eat or use the bathroom. Yeah, so lucky for all people involved.
Yeah, I'm glad the mom supported. He said, just trust your gut and do it. Just go. If the mom would have been like, oh, just don't ignore it, he would have been like, oh, I'm just crazy. And then he would have died.
Yeah, the employee's lucky I wasn't the boss's mom.
Yeah, I would totally said go for it, because I feel like gut instinct is such a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Like it literally tells you, like, you know how many times I ignored my gut and then I regretted it because I literally needed whatever I just ignored. Mm-hmm. Like I knew it was gonna be cold, I ignored my jacket. I felt like it was gonna rain even though the weather said it was just gonna be cloudy, and it rained and I didn't bring my umbrella. I got soaked. Mm-hmm. Like just little things like that, just trust your gut and go with it.
So many times I listened to my gut and then I was gutted. So I can't relate, to be honest.
Damn, you got a sucky gut then. My gut's pretty good. I don't know about yours. I guess you need to work on that. All right, so the next story is, was hiking alone in the mountains when a sudden fog rolled in. Complete whiteout conditions. As I was trying to figure out my bearings, I heard bells jingling, and out of the mist appeared an old man with a staff leading about 20 goats. He nodded at me without saying a word, walked past, and disappeared into the fog with his goats. The entire encounter lasted 30 seconds.
I like to imagine, like, just the entire car was surrounded by goats. They all looked at him like chewing on grass.
Yeah. That's so random, right? And then
Exactly.
the fog came out of nowhere.
What does this mean, though? What does this mean?
I don't know. He said that just lasted 30 seconds, but it was done. Like, the fog came with the goat and the man. The goats and the man disappeared.
There's like a lot. I listen to a lot of conspiracy theory videos, and he probably like slipped in between like multiverses.
Oh yeah, the multiverse.
That's what I imagine happened. Oh, that's the first thing that came into mind.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that too, but I was like, that's pretty cool though.
So yeah, the next mini story was, had a really down and out moment a few years ago. Just totally broke. Wanted to buy flowers and chocolates for my wife for her birthday. It was about $80, and I only had $6 in my accounts. So I sat outside on a bench and got really sad. It was really windy. And like a movie, I was just sitting in this desert town. Something struck me in the face and stuck to me. It was a $100 bill.
Oh, so what do you think he did, babe?
Hopefully he invested in that.
You don't even think he bought his wife flowers and chocolates?
Realistically, he probably bought wife chocolate and flowers, and then never saw any more money from that.
Yeah, but that's pretty cool, right? That reminds me of that day when I was in the store and I was walking to the counter, and then I was like, "Oh, what's that?" And then I looked. I thought it was fake money because you see those $100 fake bills. It was really it was real cash. And I picked it up and I just pretended I was tying my shoe and took it with me.
Crazy. Yeah.
But
that's
yeah.
not going to the lost and found.
Right. Yeah, okay. Probably one of the employees going to be like, "Oh, it's my dollar." Like, yeah, they're always going to give it to charity or anything like that. But I thought it was fake because there's always those $100 bills that are fake. So
I'm not too lucky when it comes to money like that. Like, the only time I picked up a bill, it was like a fake one with like a warning that I was going to go to hell if I didn't go to church.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got those kind of bills.
I guess I'm more lucky than you in some cases.
Most cases.
Okay, so the next story is, neighbor old lady came over and asked, "Want to see something?"
Creepy.
I said, "Yeah." And she told me to grab my keys. It's late at night already, but I just shrugged and got my keys, and she met me on my car. She gave me directions to a farm with a fenced-in area with about 80 to 100 cows. We stand outside the fence, and she keeps looking at her watch. At this point, I was sure I was going to get murdered. But what happened next, I still can't explain it. One by one, all 80 to 100 cows knelt down. They stayed that way maybe a solid minute or two, and then just got up and started roaming around, all normal again. She got back in the car, and after I picked up my jaw, I got in and we drove home silently. When we pulled in, I asked her what the hell I just saw. She made a motion of sipping her lips and throwing away the key. I went back to the farm several times alone and never saw anything out of the ordinary. I even spoke to an employee for the property and probably looked like a complete psychopath asking the question I was. She refused to acknowledge anything. This was over 25 years ago, and I still think about it.
That's crazy. Like, for what reason did he go to the farm again? Just to have the cows bow to them?
No, bow to the sky, basically.
That's crazy. I mean, cows are like, we've already had, this is like our second story about cows and them being weird.
Yeah.
Or like farm animals.
Yeah. I mean, she said you wanted to see something. She said, yeah, there was no explanation behind it. But isn't that crazy? I would be creeped out forever. I don't know if I could recover.
I know. That like neighbor must have been like a cow queen or something, or he must be feeding them something crazy.
But I just don't understand why she kept looking at the clock. She was looking at her clock. I mean, at her watch, until she finally said, and then they kneeled down for 1 or 2 minutes. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I was wondering if like she had anything to do with it, or like maybe one day she was walking past the farm and then just noticed this.
That they do it once, like
every few hours, every like night.
Well, she said she went back and nothing happened like that.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it was just once a year, maybe type of thing.
I like to think the old lady, had something to do with it.
Maybe.
And the final story we have is delivering pizzas in my 20s, and I knocked on a door. Realized after I knocked that I was in the wrong address. We're calling 9th Street Southwest instead of 9th Street Northwest. So I was exactly on the other side of town from where I needed to be. As the guy opened the door, I was about to do my, "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you, have a nice day," thing I usually do at a wrong address, but the guy didn't look confused and was holding money ready to go. Turns out he ordered pizza and accidentally put his address in wrong, which means I accidentally went to the right place. How two mistakes perfectly canceled each other out. To this day, I wonder about the actual odds of that happening. It feels like it's way more than 1 in a million.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like two dumb people making a right thing happen. I feel like crazier things have happened.
I don't know. I really like that. That even though he said, the opposite directions, he went there by accident and he got to the right place.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at least the pizza wasn't cold.
That's a plus. But yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. The coincidence. Well, not a coincidence, but more of a, I guess, not a miracle, but kind of cool way to have it.
Miracle in the city.
Imagine he would have to drive all the way to the other side.
Yeah, if this is like New York City, like to get from like one side of the island horizontally to the other side is like 30-45 minutes walking.
Exactly. So he did the right mistake by mistake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the stories we have today. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. Check out our website, www.yappings.com, and enjoy our mail list for updates. If you love our podcast and want to support us, subscribe and share to your friends and family. We would appreciate it so much. And today is my birthday, and it would be a nice gift to have your support.
Also, we have a Facebook group called AITA-Relationship and Family Drama, linked in the description. Join so you can share any asshole posts you like, or share your own stories for us all to judge. We may even read a few posts in one of our episodes if you're lucky.
Thank you. Bye.